In this lesson, we're going to talk about the probability of independent and dependent events. This video is specifically talking about independent events. So, two objects are independent if the probability of the first event occurring has no effect on the other one occurring. This would be a problem like I flipped two coins, and I want to know the probability of getting heads on the first one and heads on the second one. The probability that I would get both heads and heads means that I'm going to take the probability of the first one and multiply it by the probability of the second one. The probability that I get heads on the first coin would be one way out of two ways. The probability that I would get heads on the second coin would be one way out of two ways. Me getting heads on the second coin doesn't rely on whether I got heads or tails on the first coin. They're two independent events. We flip this coin and we flip this coin. Regardless of what I got on the first one, the probability remains the same on the second one. So the probability that I would get heads on the first coin and heads on the second coin would be 1/4. And you can see how that's true because on the first coin I could get heads or tails. And if I get heads, I could get heads, or I could get heads, tails. Here I could get tails, heads, or tails, tails. So you can see how there's only one way out of the four ways that you would get two heads. If you think about a third coin, what if I was the probability of getting heads, then tails, then heads? What I get on the first two coins isn't going to have any effect on what I get on the third coin. So if I wanted to get heads on the first one, tails on the second one, heads on the third one, it would be 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. So the probability that it lands in this order is 1 time out of 8 times.